Alright, what's going on, guys? So, I'm assuming everyone here has watched Sesame Street before. I know I used to watch it all the time when I was a little kid, and they're still making episodes to this day, which is pretty crazy because the show's been going on for like 50 years now, one of the longest running shows on television. I don't know if kids nowadays are still watching it that much because back in the day, like, that's all we really had, you know what I mean? Nowadays, kids just pulling out their new iPhone and watching fucking Jake Paul or whatever, but at the very least, I think everyone at least knows what Sesame Street is. So, in Sesame Street, there are two characters named Bert and Ernie. Now, in the show, Bert and Ernie are like best friends. They live together and stuff. They have their own little scenes. Now, keep in mind, this is an educational children's show. Not exactly a lot of plot and backstory going on in the show. I remember seeing these characters as a kid, and I gotta be honest, I don't ever recall thinking that they were gay. Like, they always just came across as best friends to me, right? Then again, I was only like 4 years old when I was watching this, so I don't think I even really knew what the term gay even was. It wasn't really something that I was thinking about, but apparently this is a very controversial issue. People actually do think about this, and there has been a lot of debate over the years on whether or not Bert and Ernie are a gay couple or not. I mean, this is really like the first I'm hearing of it because it kind of blew up on social media a little bit, but apparently the sexuality of puppets on a fucking children's TV show is very important to some people in society. I don't really understand why, but recently, Mark Saltzman, one of the old writers of the show, actually addressed some of these concerns during an interview. Basically, they straight up asked him, are these characters gay? And he said yes, they are actually intended to be gay because he modeled them after his own life. Bert and Ernie were basically supposed to be him and his husband. So this caused a lot of controversy, as you can imagine. I believe this is like the first time anybody straight up came out and said that they were indeed gay. Then again, I don't exactly follow the latest puppet breaking news or whatever, but as far as I know, like, this is a pretty big deal, okay? And here's where it gets kind of confusing, right? Because the actual creator of the character Bert, Frank Oz, came out on Twitter and he said that actually the character was not gay. So obviously we have two different conflicting reports here. I don't really know who is correct, but I tend to go with the guy who actually created the character. I think he has a little bit more authority in this situation. So apparently Bert is not gay, according to the guy who created him for the show, but then after the show hired the writers to create the episodes, the writer wanted him to be gay or whatever, so that's how he wrote them for the show. Now, I understand that's a little confusing. I'm not really sure how we went this long without these two ever like discussing this topic, because apparently there's been a lot of questions over the years, but somehow these two never like clarified what was going on, and I'm still not sure because apparently the writer still thinks that the characters are gay, but the guy who created the characters says they're not gay, so I don't really understand how that works out. But here we are, and then the actual Sesame Street Twitter account had to get involved in all of this drama, and they put out a statement, and it says, "As we have always said, Bert and Ernie are best friends. They were created to teach preschoolers that people can be good friends with those who are very different from themselves, even though they are identified as male characters and possess many human traits and characteristics. As most Sesame Street Muppets do, they remain puppets and do not have a sexual orientation." Okay, that makes sense. Pretty reasonable statement to make, right? Well, apparently not, because I guess they received a whole lot of backlash for saying this, so they actually deleted this tweet after like 5 hours, and they replaced it with this statement instead. "Sesame Street has always stood for inclusion and acceptance. It's a place where people of all cultures and backgrounds are welcome. Bert and Ernie were created to be best friends and to teach young children that people can get along with those who are very different from themselves." So, as you can see, they definitely changed up their stance on the topic a little bit. Definitely tried to take a more neutral approach, trying not to piss anybody off. Basically, they just deleted the whole part where they talk about puppets not having a sexual orientation, because apparently that is just very rude to say, alright? Puppets have feelings too, alright? And they have a sexual orientation. And Bert and Ernie, oh yeah, they're gay as fuck, alright? And you better respect that. Honestly, I like the first tweet a lot better, because if you have a brain, you would read the first tweet and you would see that they're not really being anti-gay, they're just using common sense and saying that a fucking puppet doesn't need to be gay or straight. It doesn't need to have anything. It's a fucking puppet. Because at the end of the day, man, we're talking about puppets on a TV show made to educate and entertain very young children. Like, who gives a fuck if the puppets are gay, non-binary, transgender, fucking any of that shit, man? Like, I get it, man. We're trying to push equality for all different types of people in the world, but like, we don't have to bring it into every single aspect of life, man. Especially stuff that involves children and very young children. Like, that's not really something for them to be concerned with. It's not like they can understand what any of that shit means anyways, right? Like, as I already said, I didn't even know what the fuck gay meant when I was 4 years old. My goddamn nuts ain't even dropped yet. Like, I didn't know if I liked boys or girls. Like, I didn't even like either one. You know what I did like? I liked fucking candy and Hot Wheels and Legos and fucking Pokemon. That's what I liked. You know what I didn't like? I didn't like dick. I barely even knew what a dick was. I didn't even know what my dick was all about yet. You know what I'm saying? Like, that shit was just hanging there for no reason. I didn't even know all the features of dick yet, alright? You know what I'm saying? So, can we just, like, maybe not involve children in this type of stuff, man? It's not like they're understanding anyways of what you're saying. You're just wasting your time. You're getting people upset for no reason. Gay, not gay, like, it doesn't matter, man. They're puppets. They're not people. Like, do they even have dicks? How can you be gay if you don't have a dick? Anyone seen Bert or Ernie's dick? I haven't seen it. You know why? Cause that's not what the show's about. So who gives a fuck? That's really my only point with all of this. Like, I don't mind you promoting your equality, but let's maybe just not promote it everywhere, okay? Like, let's not try to shove it into every single thing that we can, because all that really does in the end is just hurt what you're trying to accomplish. Like, for example, right, let's take a more recent TV show where this type of stuff actually makes a lot of sense, right? Orange is the New Black. I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with that show, but pretty much like half the characters in that show are gay, or I guess technically lesbian, but you know, same thing. But the thing is with that show, nobody is upset that all the girls are lesbian, right? Because number one, the show is not made for young children, and number two, it actually makes a lot of sense in that show because they're all in prison or whatever, so it actually fits perfectly with the plot and how we view that type of situation in society. But like, maybe like 10, 15 years ago, you wouldn't see a show like that on TV or on Netflix or whatever, right? But nowadays, this type of show is completely normal and it's accepted in society. So the problem really isn't like what you're doing with the whole equality type of thing, it's where you're doing it. Does that make sense? Like, there's a time and a place. A TV show with puppets for 4-year-old kids to watch, that's not it, man. Like, that just ain't it. But anyways, that's pretty much my thoughts on it, man. Like, I really just don't care that much. I just don't understand, man. Society just never ceases to amaze me, man. 2018, and people are worried about whether or not a fucking puppet character on a TV show is gay or not. Like, you don't got nothing else to be worried about, man? Like, anything else in your life that you could be more concerned with? Like, I don't think that would be in the top 100,000 things in my life that I would be thinking about. Like, it's just not on my radar. Like, I don't give a fuck if they're gay or not. It has no relevance to the show. But apparently there are people out there that really care about this type of stuff. I just can't imagine being that much of a fucking weirdo to care about this. But anyways, that's pretty much it, man. Thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to like, rating if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're not already, follow me on Twitter, links in the description down below. Other than that, have a good day and peace out.
I can never ever find the right words, and there's no way this is real life. There's no telling you're the right girl, so I can only say that it feels right. It feels right, it feels right.